been very clear there will be no central bank digital currency, which I think would be the first step toward tracking. So we have central bank digital currency, which I think would be the first step toward tracking. So we've taken that off the table. We passed stablecoin legislation with bipartisan, and the Clarity Act is now up on the hill. I think it has bipartisan support, and the most important thing we can do is to make digital assets come into the United States, make the U.S. the home, our regulation, our best.
I'll say this boldly. We're about to abandon the traditional system of money and accounting and introduce a new one. And the new one, the new accounting, is what we call blockchain. It means digital. It means having a almost perfect record of every. I'll say this boldly. We're about to abandon the traditional system of money and accounting and introduce a new one. And the new one, the new accounting, is what we call blockchain. It means digital. It means having a almost perfect record of every.
First, we have to recognize we're in a world crisis, a world collapse. The system is going down. Nothing can save the present world system in its present form. Nothing. And there's no likelihood that you can keep the system alive into the spring of this coming year. So 100 days is a pretty long period of time. You might not have a country by that time.
Shalom, shalom, Barakatah Yahweh, Bahasham Yahawashi, Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to our apostles and elder bishops here at Great Millstone. Shalom to you brothers that's pushing the work in truth with all sincerity. All right, the name of this lesson is no longer being prolonged. Okay, it's no longer being prolonged. Okay, and I'm speaking in regards to the prophecies thing that we've been saying that will take place in this time. Okay, and we've been warning Jake, what's to come and what Esau was planning. And for the most part, we went into detail, video after video, describing how, Esau is pretty much taking over everything and wants to play the role of God and essentially enslaving all humanity by way of making everyone a digital slave, and then eventually he is going to bring in, the mark of the beast, which is the, an RFID tag where they can track and trace everything you do. Okay. And you heard it in one of those clips in the beginning. So yeah, we're right there, man. We're closer than what, Jake would want us to be, but the sooner this thing comes, the sooner Esau starts, sooner he capstones his enterprise, so to speak, the sooner the Lord will return. Okay. But he has to, do his final wicked acts in the earth. Okay. Which is it's all the Lord's will. So, and that's the disconnect, from Israelites who are, who don't want us to speak about Jacob's trouble. They'll say that Jacob's trouble is already taking place. No, it has yet to begun. Okay. So Ezekiel 12 and 22, 21, it says, and the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, what is that proverb that ye have in the land of Israel, saying, the days are prolonged, and every vision faileth? Right. Yeah, individuals saying that the Lord might return 30 years from now or 1,000 years from now, completely, torn away from reality. All right, because they're now measuring the time diligently in itself. And with all those things, all the commotions that's going on, all the, the things that's happening in the world, wildfires, the earth is burning right now, parts of the earth is burning, especially here in America, Canada, Spain, Russia. I did a lesson on it, but somehow it didn't have any sound. And I think that was by design. But, as the scriptures say, the earth is on fire. And what will I if it already be? Oh, no, it says, I'm come to send fire on earth. And what will I if it already be kindled? And when you go into that word, what will I? Basically, it means that the Lord hopes it's already happening at his return, that the world is, burning at his return, because he's going to bring more fire. All right. And, the Lord is getting his wish. OK. And so let's continue. It says, I'll read 22 again. Son of man, what is the proverb that ye have in the land of Israel, saying the days are prolonged and the vision in every vision faileth? Okay. And that's among our people. They don't believe that, the Lord's will is coming. Okay. And neither do they understand his will, because they stuck in everybody can be saved, or, it's an Israelite party type of spirit. All right. It says, tell them, therefore, thus said the Lord Yahweh power, I will make this proverb to cease, and they shall no more use it as a proverb in Israel. Yep, that's right. They're not going to use it as a saying that the days are prolonged, that we, 30 years, 100 or 1,000 years from now is the return of the Lord. It's going to be directly in your face, and you're going to have to deal with it. Okay, you're going to have to deal with what's coming. All right, because you didn't choose to guard yourself from that day. Okay. You chose to go on in drunkenness and rioting, being in a spirit opposite of what the Lord expects. It says, but say unto them, the days are at hand, and that in the effect of every vision, it says, for there shall be no more any vain vision nor flattering divination. Right. And divination is like a dream. You're selling someone a dream. All right. Within the house of Israel, because that's what most of our people are going off of a false divination, that they're going to basically, get this, come on the status of the so-called white man. And what he's looking to do is to enslave you again. All right. To eradicate you again and to persecute you because you have these contrary, belief sets other than, worship in his system. All right. And, that that system. OK, we see Revelations 3:10 actually goes into the hour of temptation. All right. That's what that system is going to bring about upon this earth, the hour of temptation. All right. It says verse 25, for I am the Lord Yahweh, I will speak, and the word that I shall speak shall come to pass. It shall be no more prolonged, for in your days, O rebellious house, will I say the word and will perform it, said the Lord Yahweh power. And he's speaking through his prophets. And what have the prophets been saying? He's been warning you of times of trouble, of times of reckoning, the Lord's vengeance. Okay. Especially on the wicked. All right. And what we were to do is to cry and sigh for the abominations that be done in the midst. And most of our people aren't sighing and crying. In fact, they just getting along to go along. Okay. As if this place, has unlimited time to be here, and it doesn't. All right. Again, the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Son of man, behold, they of the house of Israel say the vision that he seeth is for many days to come. And he prophesieth of the times that are far off. See, this is not something that our people are thinking that's going to be, a reality very soon. And in fact, it's going to surprise people so abruptly. Okay. They're not going to know what to do. All right. Verse 27, it says, Son of man, behold, they of the house of Israel say the vision that he seeth is for many days to come, and he prophesied of the time that are far off. Therefore say unto them, thus saith the Lord Yahweh power, there shall none of my words be prolonged any more, but the word which I have spoken shall be done, saith the Lord Yahweh power. Okay, so his words, the words that he spoke, all right, he's going to accomplish it. All right. In other words, okay. Let me do this so I can. All right. This is Matthew 24. And all right. 42, it says here, be ready for his coming. Okay. Be ready for his coming. And you know, the parable of the wise virgins and the foolish virgins took their lamps and trimmed not their lamps. The ones that trim their lamps are the ones that essentially prepared themselves for the coming. All right. But that's by seeking the information, going over and, readying their minds for what's to come. Okay. Verse 42, watch therefore, for ye know not what hour the Lord doth come. All right. But know this, that if the good man of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house to be broken up. And a lot of people, especially Israelites, your house is going to be broken up because you're not going to know what to do because you put all your trust in this place and not Yahweh Shem Yahushai. See, our people don't see a kingdom to come. They don't have no vision towards a world after this. You know, all they know and all they will accept is what, Esau has presented them. OK, and that's why they go so hard at us, because we go so hard at Esau and his establishment, All right. Therefore, be ye also ready, for in such an hour as ye think not, the Son of Man cometh. All right. There you go. And the scriptures tell us to be circumspect. Ephesians 5:15. Precepts that we always read, but these are so important. OK, because you're going to need the repetition, and, for these things to stick in your mind for when times do become dire, become, all out, chaos. You want this to meet you in your thoughts. Ephesians 5:15, see then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. And what does it say about a fool? Let's see here. Prudent man. All right. Let's see here. Yeah. Proverbs 22:3 says, a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. And essentially how our people are passing on is that they're not regarding what the prophets are saying, or they're not preparing themselves spiritually. They're not crying and sighing, complaining to the Lord consistently about the evils that be done. So what's going to happen? They're going to continue doing as they see fit. And guess what? There's going to be spirits created for vengeance. All right. And when this thing goes down, because it's not going to be then they're smoothing it in now, but there's chaos is going to ensue. Crises is going to ensue. And that's what's going to make this thing, so prominent, and especially in people's lives, because they will choose that as a way out. OK, Ephesians 5:15, see then you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. Wherefore be ye not unwise. You see. And Jake is unwise because they're not really understanding what the Lord is doing. They're not being thankful. In fact, they're going to be angry that what transpires and how this devil moves. But the wise, the righteous is going to understand, okay, yeah, that's how that's the spirit that the Lord put on this devil to do what he's doing. And most of our people are going to be shocked and perplexed and have absolutely no idea what to do next. Okay. And in fact, most of them are going to be compromised because it's just going to take what Esau gave them, just like they took that shot in 2020. All right. 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, they were all with it. OK. And it says what? Wherefore be not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. And be not drunk with wine wherein is excess, but be filled with the Spirit. All right. The spirit of this book, the understanding of this book, understanding what the Lord has for our time and what he told us what was coming. Listening to the prophets, the men of the Lord who've been warning you and giving you precise information. OK, which what we are to hold on to and also to cry and sigh against this place, man, for all the abomination that be done in the midst. OK, so I'm going to leave it there. You know, I didn't want it to be super long. So, you know, Lord willing, this was edifying. Yeah, man, it's right at the doors. And shalom.